cheating wife, before after wedding plus death of my friend. Me, 26 male, and my wife, 25 female, have been married just over a month. My friend, 25 male, worked with me for 3 years and was one of my best friends. Consequently, as we were both resting in bed, she got a message from one of my pals, which she responded to right away by swiping up. I inquired as to what it was and why she wanted to view it, and she said that she wants to preserve his personal information. I told her that she was my wife and that we should never keep anything from one another, even messages from other men. She freaked out and said, "You don't trust me? I can't believe this. I'm sleeping on the couch." After which she wiped everything between him and her on her phone and banned him from all social media accounts and communications. Her dissatisfaction with me continues the following day, and my dissatisfaction with her continues. I stand up for myself and tell her that she has lost some of my trust, but that if she is being honest and it was truly nothing, I would forgive her. She deleted all of the messages and blocked him, and my gut was screaming at me, but I ignored it, and the rest of the day passed smoothly and without incident. The next morning, I was roused from my sleep by a phone call from a colleague, a different coworker, notifying me that my friend had committed himself the night before. I was perplexed and worried since I had just seen him 2 days before and we had been talking about his half-day fishing excursion when he suddenly disappeared. I could tell my wife was having difficulties as well, which struck me as odd considering the fact that she had only seen him 3 or 4 times and that she hadn't spoken much about it with me. I asked her how she was doing and she said she was fine. We had just celebrated our 1-month anniversary when I got a phone call from my wife, who asked me not to go to the girl's location right away because she needed to talk with me first. My wife and friend have been talking about this for months, so I'm perplexed and say I have no idea what she's talking about. Then the girlfriend of one of my friends comes over and unloads information that my wife and friend have been talking about for months. I go over and she shows me the messages, which included "I can't wait for our future together," "I can't wait to meet our children," "I love you," and nudes and all that, as well as talking about I spent almost 30 minutes scrolling through the messages and didn't even make it to the end of the week because I was so distracted. Although he claimed "I love you," his last text to my wife was, "This isn't your fault." When I returned home, she was vanished, and I embarked on a 2-day binge in which I had no contact with her, except for the odd drunk "you broke me" text from me. In addition, there was no contact with anybody else. I call my family and tell them what happened. They are worried about me, which is understandable, and they keep asking whether I have my weapons in the house and other similar questions. I am able to persuade them that I am not a danger to myself and that I just need a few days to unwind. Following that, they put me in contact with their lawyer, with whom I spoke for more than 6 hours before making the decision to file for divorce. "I want to get through this," she said in a text message to me last night, adding that we should both attend individual and couples counseling. Because I haven't replied to her message yet, although I'm scared she'll try to chastise me, my hope is that, instead, she'll be kind and say, "My stuff is mine, and your stuff is yours." I hope to God that she is not also expecting a child. As a result, I'm here at home with my 2 dogs, waiting to hear from my lawyer that she has been served with papers. Update. First, I'd want to thank everyone for their support. It's been a difficult few weeks, but with the aid of my friends and family, I've gotten through it mainly sober. And well enough. Second, I'd like to explain the backstory a little bit. My future ex-wife and I have been dating for 6 years and engaged since February. We got married in September, and during most of that time, we dated. I worked over the road for 4 years. And in the last 2 years, I settled into a nice little town where there's steady work in my field that doesn't require me to move around a lot. S2's chemical transfers and spill response. I bought a house 1 year ago before third. The guy with whom she cheated on me was a dear friend of mine. He lived in the same town where I settled and we were fishing pals for 2-3 years before I hired him and we worked together for 3 years. I've had him and his girlfriend over for dinner many times and I've gone over to their house several times. I didn't invite him to our wedding because he made a joke about someone's wife and he gazed at me for 1 or 2 seconds too long, which made my stomach churn. Fourth, I learned that my wife had broken up with him the day before he committed himself and that she was the last person he contacted before committing suicide. Here's an update. I'm attempting to fill in the specifics of the previous week or 2. So I've been basically sober for the last few weeks, just going out rarely and with friends, no sad home alone or sitting at the bar alone drinking. I did not attend the recently deceased funeral or memorial ceremony. I've been attempting to maintain as little touch with my wife as possible, addressing queries about health insurance and other related topics. Soon after my initial post, I called a lawyer and had him begin drafting divorce papers. My buddy informed me 3-4 days after she left that my wife contacted her and stated she was in the hospital for a suicide attempt. I received a text from my wife an hour later stating she was freed because she promised not to injure herself to the staff. I assumed she was lying. That's not how hospitals in that region deal with suicide attempts. A day later, I received the Apple Watch from the departed man's girlfriend, which had texts going back to the day we returned from our honeymoon, early October. I provided the watch to the lawyer, and he now has all of the messages and photographs for the case. For anything before to that date, they both erased messages, so I won't be able to view them until we get the phone back from the police. There has really been no other communication besides setting up a time for her to come and get more of her clothes. Me and the departed man's girlfriend have talked occasionally, and I've thanked her for telling me, even though I know it must have been extra heartbreaking for her. I'm going to gift her a lot of stuff, or just probably anonymous cash in the mailbox to help her and her daughter out. The divorce was filed on 10/22/21, and she should be served shortly, either by the end of today, 10/29/21, or by the next week. I still don't believe she is aware of my divorce intentions, which is great with me. Our state is a no-fault state, so legally she may attempt to claim half of my belongings, but since the marriage was so brief, the court will just separate us with our belongings from before the marriage. I'm not interested in anything she has. I don't want her vehicle, and I don't want her money. Not that she has any. All I want is to keep my home, vehicle, pets, and retirement. And I pray to God that she isn't pregnant. So that's about it for the previous few weeks. I'll respond to comments and messages as best I can and provide an update as soon as possible. Thank you all. Update 2. So after a time, more and more coworkers began to tell me that they were aware of the affair, but didn't want to inform me because it wasn't my place, or I didn't want to make things uncomfortable. Apparently, the man wasn't quiet about it and was sending her naked around work, so I've had folks come up to me and show me my wife, saying, "Hey dude, isn't this your wife?" I also heard that she had paid in money a couple of times. Some of the money that I had sent her to pay for the wedding, and that they had been contacting each other every day 3-6 times a day for months, and that they had taken a hotel room together at some point in August or September. She has consistently lied till I bring forward another truth after another, so I simply stopped communicating with her. She may be coming over tomorrow or this weekend to pick up some of her belongings, and I have a buddy coming over to essentially oversee, so she can't accuse me of anything. I packed the most of her belongings. She was served this weekend, and I couldn't be happier, despite the fact that everything appears boring and gloomy. I committed the past 6 years of my life to her. We were planned our future, and she tossed it all away. And she really believed that there would be some kind of forgiveness and a relationship after this, and that we could recover together, before she was served. I have my family and select friends to thank for their unending love and support. But I also wanted to thank each and every one of you for your advice and support through this difficult period in my life.